Gamers of Reddit, what's one game that to this day you don't understand why people enjoy it? Those pay-to-win games infested with ads. Who plays them? Why are there so many? Obviously there is audience. Why is it that people like Adopt Me in Roblox? You literally just walk around and get different pets. This comment is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends. Official Ark Survival Evolved. Toxic. Greedy developers. Soul-sucking. Time-consuming. Edit. Even if you play unofficial, you're still inclined to play very often. You don't have time for other games because your stuff disappears after a while. Any sport game. Especially 2K. Same game every single year. I don't get how people still play World of Tanks. It's incredibly pay to win. You just get stomped by premium tanks that are better in every way. Also, if you get blown up during a game, you can't join another game with that tank until the match you died in is over or unless you spend premium currency. And games often last a very long time. So if you only have a couple tanks, you might not be able to play for 30 minutes or more depending on your luck. The base gameplay is solid, but it's ruined by P2W mechanics in everything and terrible gameplay choices that just make no sense. I don't understand how people can still like FIFA. I mean, it is the same game every year. Like, bruh, why would you do this? I really wanted to like MMOs. But I just don't see it. Played a few like SWTOR and ESO, but the gameplay seems a bit on the boring side. Go here. Kill X amount of dudes. Talk to this guy. Get a lousy reward. Over and over and over again. I think sports games in general will be mentioned frequently. So probably something like Dark Souls-esque. Also, I get that some people love those types of games and I respect that. But I don't have a lot of time for gaming. Mostly short sessions in the evening. So I like just quick easy stuff that I can have fun with and not get frustrated over. I'll give you an entire genre. Battle Royale just too weird for me since other FPS already feature a last man standing most of the time. Not gatekeeping. Tarkov or Fortnite or hunt away fellow gamers winking face. I can't think of any game so terrible that nobody would enjoy it. If I had to pick however, it would be Monopoly. It's long, slow, and leaves most the players frustrated by the end. CS::GO from what I've played of it. I just couldn't get into it. I don't intend to farm negative karma. But I don't get Smash Bros. And I would love someone to explain it to me. Animal Crossing. I just find it boring. Sports games. Never really got why. Pretty much any of the card collection games. Such as Clash Royale. I never understood why constantly trying to collect cards is so interesting. Anything text-based without pictures. I don't understand why people like typing in words then reading text. Then repeating it over and over. COD multiplayer. Every time I see someone play it's just screaming at campers. Calling BS on a shot. Thinking someone has an aimbot or any other excuse to scream like a child. Is any amount of high you get from this really worth looking and sounding like a jackass that much? Fallout 76. I like the other Fallouts. But this one. I wanted to get into it again because there was a new update and I wanted to check if it was better. But I quit after 10 minutes I think. I know it's technically a mini card game but Gwent. I couldn't stand playing the tutorial match at the beginning of Witcher 3 and thought maybe it was just boring because it was trying to teach me the game. But no. Every time I would play it I could feel the enthusiasm I had for every other aspect of Witcher 3 draining from me. My roommate last year dated this guy who played it religiously. She said he would be playing Gwent for the entire 3-hour gaming session. I just don't understand how a card game can get some people so tied up in it when the rest of the game is a beautiful and detailed world with rich story and actual characters. Maybe I just don't like board games. Mario Party. It's really boring and sad to play alone. You can argue that it is meant to be played with friends. But even in multiplayer, I always found Smash Bros and Mario Kart to be so much better. Any online casino games. Who's regulating that? Monster Hunter World was how I discovered you could trade in games for decent discounts on new releases. I guess it was financially beneficial to me that it was such a popular game because of that. But I hated that grindy. And that's coming from an MMO player. Brave Frontier. Or rather any gacha game. There's so much power creep there that eventually you have to spend a large sum of money to even try to keep up with the meta. Plus constant grinding for equipment. If you miss a single event you immediately fall behind. Etc. Minecraft. Don't get me wrong. I've seen some amazing stuff built in the world. But when I gave it a go, I just couldn't see the appeal. FIFA. Soccer is fun to play in real life. But in a video game. Undertale. I just don't get it. Is this game supposed to be fun because of the retro feel? Or is it that your choices have consequences? Video games are designed to be interactive and make your choices matter. Assassin's Creed. Everything feels samey and copy-pasted. With clunky combat tacked on. And a climbing mechanic that got boring in the first 15 minutes. Europa Universalis IV. I adore this game but you just stare at a map and paint it your color. Typically for hundreds of hours at the very least. Not a computer gamer. So here is a physical game. Baseball. Eye-bleeding boredom for hours on end and occasionally someone will hit the ball. Death Stranding. Game is so convoluted and difficult to play and incredibly boring. Walking and more walking. The villain also makes no sense. Good graphics and soundtrack. But I don't understand the hype. I don't get why The Last of Us got the Grand Slam reception it did. It's not like it's a terrible game. Not by a long shot. But everyone else seemed to enjoy it a ton more than I did. Sometimes I feel like I missed something but at the same time I have no desire to ever play it again. Breath of the Wild. Mini rant incoming. I don't get why people enjoy it. Every mechanic seems to be made in the worst possible way to slow down how fast the game goes. You want to go to a cold place? Go gather a ton of spices strewn throughout a massive world. Then spend forever cooking. Because our cooking mechanic is one of the worst in the last 10 to 15 years of gameplay. You want the classic temples and puzzles that make Zelda Zelda? We got rid of those. You want a change in how fights work? Sorry. We seem to have made only like 5 enemy types. And you will spend most of your time fighting our random goblins in randomly spread throughout the world. Almost every single one of these fights will be 100% identical. Want to go anywhere? Travel will take forever. And the horse controls haven't improved since Ocarina of Time. Storyline? Kinda sorta maybe. Mostly this game is Assassin's Creed side quests without a main game. Also, your weapons keep breaking. Although that one only doesn't bother me cause I knew about it before playing the game and went into it with the weapons being expendable mindset. But I can see how it would be frustrating. And the masked sword being able to break is really stupid. Dark Souls. At the risk of being told to get good. I just can't justify investing any time in a game if I spend half my playthrough dying and repeating boss fights. I've got other to do. A challenge is fine but I can't see how it's enjoyable unless you've got loads of free time on your hands. Hot take. Basically any Rockstar game. I understand what's great about them. The writing and characterization are incredible. But God. A AAA game should not have controls so clunky that it turns me off the game completely. Honestly. I don't see any reason for the poor controls. Rockstar is a rich company. Invest in some control programming to move on from the PS2 era. League of Legends. Dota 2. Jackbox party games. So much time is spent setting up. Say. 2-3 trivia questions. Then the game is over. Obnoxious announcer and graphics. Too much. Yet too little. Call of Duty and Pokémon. Even with the longer development time in between Pokémon games. Not enough changes from game to make the purchase worth it. Not unless you wait a gen or two. But that's me. I dislike or actively hate most Pokémon designs that are released with each gen. So Pocket Monsters aren't a draw for me. It's also become clear to me that Nintendo and/or Game Freak don't care about making the best games in that franchise as they could. Focusing more on milking long-term fans and the parents of kids just getting into the universe. As for COD, literally the same game every year with a different paint job. It wasn't always like this. But EA doesn't care about making good games. They only care about money. And few games under their belt make more than a new COD. Add in microtransactions and loot boxes that prey on addictive personalities. And you hundreds of millions in profit with each game. Oblivion. Just kidding. Just dance games. Honestly speaking? Open world games. I personally find them to be daunting and anxiety-inducing due to how vast they are.